Hi everyone, welcome to Couchbase Coding with Matthew Groves. This is a 10-minute slice of my day as a developer advocate, live on Twitch every day at Matthew D. Groves. Check out old episodes on YouTube, email or tweet comments and questions, please. So I have one more bullet point left on my mission statement, and it's probably one of the least important ones, but my goal of being a better developer, why I'm live streaming like this, is just finally, I want to help build and improve my own personal brand. That's why I put my name on the episode or on the show, Couchbase Coding with Matthew Groves, and improve my credibility a little bit to just show, what I'm doing out there and how I can help you, and just identify better with Couchbase. So if people have Couchbase issues, they'll know, hey, I know Matt Groves. I'll go talk to him. And finally, just to have some fun. It's fun to stream and do stuff, and especially when people are involved with the chat and they're contributing, and it's just great. So that's it for my mission statement. So I'm closing up the second week of the show. And note the rearranged layout today, a little smaller font at the top, based on some of the feedback I got earlier this week. I'm not sure it's much of an improvement since I really can't make the actual screen here, this part, much bigger without removing either this video chat or the chat window, or this video screen or the chat window down here. So I don't know. I'm willing to experiment. If you have any other ideas for layout, send them my way and see what I can do. All right, so today I'm going to continue working on this REST endpoint here. I'm going to not focus so much on documentation today, but focus on the actual REST interface, the error messages it's returning when something is not entered correctly, and just take some notes and see if I can come up with an overall suggestion or multiple detailed suggestions to submit as a ticket at issues.couchbase.com, like I did earlier this week for something else not related. So I'm just going to spend about 10 minutes or so and work through this. So just sort of act like a little bit of a QE and sort of hit these endpoints with different combinations and see what happens. And I'm not going to be completely exhaustive like our QA department does, and I'm going to focus more on the actual messages being returned rather than the functionality and things, just to kind of hope to improve usability or come up with a suggestion to improve usability. Okay, so this is the endpoint, again, to create buckets in Couchbase. So I'm just going to start with just the endpoint by itself, nothing being posted to it at all other than authorization. So when I send that off to Couchbase, what is returned is this message here. See if I can't get this up a little higher. Can I do that? Let's see. Come on, Postman. The resolution is kind of small, so it's kind of cramped here at the bottom, but oh, there we go. I can scroll down. All right, so it's saying right now a bucket name needs to be specified, and the RAM quota must be specified, must be positive integer. So that sounds fine, actually. I'm not sure why I thought it was going to be something else, but what if I put auth type equals none here in the URL? Okay, same thing. So that seems fine. Bucket name must be specified, so it's just saying it's required, right? So I'll put a name in here and we'll just call it Friday test. And so if I hit send, now it says RAM quota must be specified, must be a positive integer. And so I think it must be 100 is the minimum, unless it's a mem-based bucket, which I think might be lower. I'm not sure, but let's just try it at 50 and see what happens here. Okay, so they get a message: RAM quota cannot be less than 100. So that's good. Everything's good there. So if I go ahead and hit this and send, that seems to be all that it requires. So we'll switch back over here to this screen here. We've got Friday test there, and that looks good. So I guess maybe the issue might have been with the older version of Couchbase, like 4.5, which I'm not sure at this point these sort of suggestions will be all that useful. It's almost a full version back, but let's just switch over and see how that looks. So this is how I usually do a lot of when I'm answering Stack Overflow or I'm doing different, testing stuff with different versions. I'll use Docker because it's easy for me to switch back and forth between them. So I'm going to stop the 5.5 beta. Notice it kind of shows an error in the background because I stopped it. And I'm going to start, let's do 4.6.4 Enterprise Edition. So I switch over to that. It'll take a second to load up here in Docker. But then we'll just do the same sort of thing. And I'll also change the documentation back to, is it 4.6? Yeah, 4.6. All right. So notice the UI looks different already because we're in an older version. Okay, so right now we've got a couple buckets already, so I'll go ahead and delete this one. Don't need it anymore. Just want to keep the buckets as lean as possible while I'm working here. Okay, we'll go back over to Postman. Okay, and again, we'll hit this endpoint with nothing at all. Of course, the authorization is the same as before. It's my super secret password as password administrator that does the basic auth. All right, so we'll hit this and see what happens. Okay, so here's, yeah, this I think is a little confusing. So I posted to this endpoint and I didn't specify anything, and it just says invalid auth type. So I'm going to make a note of this somewhere. So this is in Couchbase 4.6.4 Enterprise. So when I post an empty body, I get message, or I get errors, I guess. I'll just copy the whole thing. So that seems like it could be kind of confusing because I didn't specify an auth type at all. So how could it be invalid if I didn't specify it? What it should probably say is you didn't specify an auth type, right? So if I go back here to not headers, body, I say auth type none. I send it again, and okay, so now it's a little better. The error messages: bucket name needs to be specified, port must be a number, and RAM quota must be specified. So this port number thing is a little different in 4.6 as 5. But again, that's kind of confusing because it's not saying I didn't actually submit a port. It's just saying the one I submitted was invalid. Say when I specify auth type equals none, then I want to zoom in on the proxy port message. So I didn't specify an auth type. Just add some more notes here. Maybe it should say, you must specify an auth type. Something like that. And same thing down here. Suggestion, you must specify a proxy port. Okay, and then another one of the auth types that's available is SASL, I believe. So if I hit SASL, now it doesn't need the port number, right? That's just, again, sort of the authorization stuff related, and this is different in 5. Okay, RAM quota must be 100, so let's again try with a lower value. Okay, that looks good, but did it say it must be specified? Yeah, so it is kind of confusing here because I didn't specify RAM quota, but it says it must be specified and must be positive integer. So maybe that's a better suggestion. You must specify an auth type and it must be a valid auth type. You must specify a proxy port. So that's what I did over here, right? I said auth type is none. Now what if I say, okay, new key proxy port, and I say 80. The port number must be greater than 1. Okay, so that's a little different message. So maybe that is what it should say. You must specify a proxy port, and it must be greater than 1024 and less than 65536. Something like that maybe would be a little bit more easy to use. And again, it seems like the messages are fine in 5.0, so this would probably just be for 4.6 going forward. There go the police. can hear them out on the street. I live on kind of a busier street, and there's lots of police and fire coming by here at all hours of the day. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to maybe submit this as a suggestion, just sort of a minor tweak to the text, and we'll see if if they do any future releases of 4.6 or 4.x, that might make it into that release. All right, so that's 10 minutes. Thank you again for joining me this week. I will be doing this again next week, Monday at 12:30ish Eastern Time. So please keep that feedback coming. Any more suggestions on improving the overlay or anything like that, or any more ideas or stuff you'd like me to cover with Couchbase. Maybe some of the basics. I've got a huge list of stuff that I'm interested in covering, but I'm always interested in seeing what you guys want to cover. I'd also be curious if you're interested in a longer format show than the 10 minutes that I'm aiming for right now. If that would be a better experience for you, or you'd find that more useful, or if you actually like the shorter shows. So let me know. I'm sort of on the fence about that, sort of considering both sides. So send me some feedback up there on Twitter, email, check out the Couchbase blog, and don't forget to subscribe on Twitch, Matthew D. Groves. Thanks everybody for watching.